When I turned 60, everything changed. It wasn't just another birthday. It felt like a natural pause, a chance to step back, take a deep breath, and reflect on the life I had built. I asked myself, what truly matters now? What am I still doing? Just out of habit, or because I used to think it was important, so I did something simple, but powerful. I took inventory of my life, and I made a decision to let go of the things that no longer served me, things that were right for my 30s or 40s, but no longer fit the life I wanted after 60. In this video, I'll share the 5 things I gave up, and more importantly, why giving them up made my life so much better. If you've ever felt like you're carrying around more than you need, you're not alone. Let's begin. 1. I stopped expecting too much from others. In my younger years, I held people to high standards. I expected honesty. I expected effort. I expected decency, because that's what I gave. But over time, I came to a quiet realization. Expectation is a silent thief of peace. The higher my hopes, the deeper my disappointments. I thought I was asking for fairness, but often I was setting myself up for heartache. After 60, I stopped expecting people to be who they're not. I no longer expect everyone to understand me. I no longer expect people to apologize the way I would, or show up the way I do. Instead, I accept people as they are, flawed, incomplete, just like me. It's not about lowering your standards. It's about protecting your heart. When you expect too much, you often get let down. And the older you get, the more you realize peace is found not in demanding more from others, but in needing less. Now when someone falls short, I pause, I breathe, and I remind myself, not everyone is meant to meet you at your level. Some people are still growing. Some are stuck in their own storms. And some may never change at all. That's not my burden to carry. It's not my job to fix them, or to keep getting hurt by the same old lessons. So I choose grace, and I choose space. I no longer build friendships on expectation. I build them on acceptance. And if that's not possible, I walk away, gently, but without regret. Because life after 60 is far too short to keep waiting for others to become who you hoped they'd be. 2. I stopped putting up with toxic people. After 60, your tolerance for certain people naturally fades, and you begin to see more clearly, not everyone deserves a seat at your table. There were people in my life who drained my energy, who spoke more than they listened, who criticized more than they cared. In my working years, I often had to deal with them. Clients, colleagues, even friends. Sometimes I had no choice. They paid the bills. They shared the space. So I endured it. But retirement taught me something else. Enduring is not the same as living. Now, I choose peace over politeness. I choose distance over discomfort. I choose quiet over chaos. I've learned that it's okay to walk away from people who bring conflict, tension, or bitterness, even if you've known them for years. Even if part of you feels guilty for letting go, you're not being unkind. You're being honest. With your time, with your energy, with the years you have left. I'm not saying I never forgive. In fact, one of my oldest friends, someone I had cut ties with years ago, we made peace recently. We talked, we laughed, and we healed. Because sometimes people change, and sometimes they don't. But either way, I no longer keep people in my life just because they've always been there. Life after 60 is too short to be spent walking on eggshells, tiptoeing around bad behavior, or dimming your own light to make someone else comfortable. You deserve calm. You deserve kindness. You deserve company that lifts you, not weighs you down. 3. I stopped caring what others think of me. There is a quiet turning point in life, a moment that doesn't make noise, but changes everything. For me, that moment arrived sometime after 60. I looked back and saw a pattern. Years of living through the eyes of others. I used to wonder, do they approve? Do they understand me? Do they see me in a good light? But those questions, they drained me, slowly, silently. And one day I just let them go. Because the truth is, people will always have opinions about your looks, your choices, your past, even your smile. I've had comments about my teeth. And yes, they're chipped. They're imperfect. But they're mine. And they've been with me through every laugh, every conversation, every hard-earned moment of joy. What I've come to realize is that peace begins when the need for approval ends. After 60 toes, you don't have time to carry what doesn't belong to you. And other people's judgments, they were never yours to carry in the first place. I no longer explain myself. I no longer argue to be seen. I no longer give away pieces of my peace just to satisfy someone else's expectation. Instead, I listen to my own voice. It's softer than the world's noise, but far more honest. This isn't about arrogance. It's about release. It's about finally resting in the truth that your life is yours. Your path is your own, and no one else gets to define your worth. That is freedom. 4. I stopped setting complicated goals. There was a time in my life when everything had to have a plan, a vision board, a checklist, a deadline, a spreadsheet. I was the kind of person who measured progress by how much I got done. Every day had to be productive. Every hour had to count. That mindset served me well in my career. It built structure. It built discipline. But it also built pressure. Pressure I didn't realize I was carrying until I turned 60 and let it go. Now, I no longer chase goals that are complicated, rigid, or overwhelming. I still set intentions, but they are simple, gentle, and most of all, flexible. Instead of 5-year plans, I ask myself one question. What feels meaningful this season of life? Sometimes it's reading more. Sometimes it's walking each morning. Sometimes it's just enjoying a quiet afternoon without needing to prove anything to anyone. I use a basic calendar. I write things down. But I no longer try to pack my days like I'm running out of time. Because here's what I've learned. Life after 60 isn't a project to manage. It's a gift to be savored. You don't need to accomplish something to feel valuable. You don't need to always move forward to feel alive. Sometimes staying still and feeling peace in that stillness is the greatest goal of all. So I've given myself permission to slow down, to simplify, to let life unfold without needing to control every step. And in doing so, I found more joy than any checklist ever gave me. 5. I stopped trying to stay busy all the time. For most of my life, being busy was a badge of honor. I used to fill every hour. Meetings, projects, goals. Even my free time was scheduled. If I wasn't doing something, I felt like I was falling behind. But after 60 that mindset began to feel exhausting and unnecessary. One morning, I woke up and simply didn't feel like doing anything. And for the first time, I let that be okay. No guilt, no pressure, just space. You see, there's a strange belief in this world that if we're not being productive, we're wasting our lives. But I've come to believe the opposite. Slowness, stillness, rest. They're not signs of laziness. They're signs of wisdom. I still value routine. I still enjoy purpose. But now, I leave room for nothingness. I leave room to sit by the window, to go for a quiet walk, to drink my tea slowly, without multitasking. Because not every day needs to be filled to be fulfilling. I've watched some of my friends fill every minute of retirement, joining clubs, chasing activities, racing from one thing to the next. And if that brings them joy, that's beautiful. But for me, peace is not found in doing more. It's found in doing what feels right. Some days I create, other days I rest, and both are equally valuable. So I've stopped trying to prove my worth by how much I do. Now, I measure my days by how deeply I feel, how present I am, and how gently I treat myself. Because in this season of life, busyness is no longer the goal. Presence is. Looking back now, I don't regret the things I gave up after 60. I don't miss the pressure, the noise, the constant striving to be more, do more, please more. What I've gained in return is something much greater. Clarity, freedom, peace. Letting go of these 5 things hasn't made my life smaller. It's made it fuller. Because now, I make space for what truly matters. For still mornings, for honest laughter, for meaningful connections, for rest that doesn't need to be earned. And if you're listening to this, perhaps you're wondering if it's too late to slow down, to step back, to let go of what no longer serves you. It's not, no matter your age. You have the right to live on your terms, to redefine what success means, to stop carrying the weight of things you were never meant to hold. So I invite you, not to add more to your life, but to subtract, to release, to simplify, and to trust that what remains is enough, because a quieter life is often a richer one. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.